Hi, welcome to our channel Good New. Before we begin today's video, please subscribe to our channel so that we may continue to make videos. Let's have a look at the topic we'll be discussing today. Recently, the Ukraine situation has persisted. A conflict? Peace? In any case, where is the globe going in the future? I feel it is an impossible question to answer since there are still just too many unknowns. Even in this situation, we may be able to glimpse the light. We have witnessed frequent confrontations and friction between China and the United States in recent years, but the two nations' attitudes toward Russia during the Ukraine issue have contributed to the current tension. So, in terms of light, what could possibly bring such a thing to today's situation? The U.S. ambassador to China, Nicholas Burns, has arrived in China, accompanied with others of the U.S. delegation. Mission members and family members who have been delayed owing to the illness will be quarantined for 3 weeks. This guy's visit marked a possibility for tensions to be eased between two of the world's most powerful countries, and it happened just amid the Ukraine crisis. Many people have long been disturbed by the tension between China and the United States, and many have just expected something to alleviate it slightly. Meanwhile, the Ukraine crisis has begun, so many people doubt that this event will make a significant difference in the current circumstances. Perhaps such contemplation is pointless, yet what we are going to discuss should be truly unique. So, is the Ukraine situation becoming a chance to diffuse Sino-American tensions? What occurred to make us believe that things will be different? Let's find out the answers to these questions together. The Ukraine conflict has put several countries in a dilemma, including China. China, as a friend of both Russia and Ukraine, has no inclination to take sides. On the contrary, customary Chinese thinking holds that when two friends dispute, the primary goal must be to resolve the disagreement through mediation. While China's balanced attitude has raised some eyebrows, it may wind up hastening the conclusion of the conflict and alleviating tensions with the U.S. When the war started, Western observers emphasized China's apparent pro-Kremlin stance, as evidenced by Chinese officials' refusal to use the word invasion to describe Russia's aggression in Ukraine, their claim that NATO's actions pushed Russia-Ukraine tensions to a breaking point, and their criticism of Western sanctions. However, Westerners paid less attention to China's repeated demands for all countries to respect each other's sovereignty and territorial integrity, a clear, though indirect, rebuke to Russia, and the deployment of humanitarian aid to Ukraine. Indeed, the West was ready to believe that China, which had signed a cooperation pact with Russia just 3 weeks before the invasion, was on Russia's side. On the day before his meeting with his Chinese counterpart, U.S. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan warned that China would certainly suffer consequences if it gave military aid to Russia or assisted the nation in evading Western sanctions. A few days later, the same theme dominated Chinese President Xi Jinping's virtual meeting with U.S. President Joe Biden. Xi underlined China's concern at witnessing Russia and Ukraine resort to armed action to settle their differences, and he hoped that China and the U.S. would work together to restore peace. And this is why we feel there may be a way to reduce tensions between China and the United States. Allowing the current situation in Ukraine to deteriorate does not necessarily serve America's interests, because both Ukraine and Russia have resources that are vital to the global economy, and sanctions against Russia cannot possibly bring those resources to the U.S. Eventually, the giant will be unable to bear the consequences. As a result, such a circumstance has led to the necessity for collaboration, which may be viewed as an opportunity for China-U.S. ties. Furthermore, as we indicated at the start of our video, China has been anticipating an important visitor, who may potentially be essential to China-U.S. ties. What type of person is the significant visitor visiting China this time? During his 27 years of service to the United States government, Burns has held a variety of key posts, including spokesman for the United States State Department. Burns has been to China several times. The first time he joined then U.S. Secretary of State Shultz was in 1988. Burns joined President Bush to China the next year. Burns' visit to China will surely assist to improve the communication bridge between China and the United States. It is hoped that the arrival of this significant guest would hasten the thawing of relations between China and the United States and contribute to the role of bilateral cooperation. However, as we have seen, the Ukraine war might help deepen and sustain the circumstances for a shift in U.S.-China relations, and recent developments may constitute a watershed moment, at least in the economic sphere. Russia's activity in Ukraine cannot be justified, and China has made no such attempt. On the contrary, China's humanitarian support to Ukraine, together with its insistence on national sovereignty and territorial integrity, amounts to an implicit agreement with the United States and its allies that the war must cease and Ukraine's sovereignty and independence be protected. People may be pretty sentimental at times. The days of China and the United States. Since the 1970s, diplomatic contacts have been restored. Things were very different back then than they are now. Unlike now, ties between the two countries were formerly relatively excellent. Where are Sino-American relations heading? I believe the solution may be found in the Sino-US joint communiqué. Although the 50th anniversary of the publishing of the Sino-US joint communiqué occurred more than a month ago, it is still worth considering. In February 1972, U.S. President Richard Nixon traveled on an ice-breaking journey to China, ushering in a new chapter in Sino-US ties. The Xinjiang Auditorium has hosted a number of foreign officials, all of whom are dedicated to normalizing Sino-American ties. The social development has evolved with each passing day since the reform and opening up. The Xinjiang Auditorium is unable to handle the increased reception needs. At the same time, due to the concealed threats of fire protection, it was rebuilt twice in 1998 and 2006. The Xinjiang Auditorium, with its crimson brick walls and magnolia and camphor trees for shade, emanates a serious, generous, and beautiful attitude. I don't think Sino-US ties will ever return to their pre-crisis state, because things are going forward in general. However, I believe that peace in Sino-US relations is feasible if all sides work together. While the US-China relationship has a long way to go, the Ukraine conflict has reminded both sides of their shared goal in peace and economic engagement. Thanks for watching in this video. You can add your ideas or suggestions below. Please keep following our channel and like our videos.